joined drama club, I refused to be acting on stage. I was like, no
Mhm.
way. Like I was so self-conscious with my size and everything, right? And I've always been morbidly obese. In fact, I think the term in the health booklet, morbidly obese, was created for me, bro. Because only after I was in existence for a while, then I noticed there's a new category, and I'm the only one picked at morbidly obese.
What's up? And welcome to another episode of the KopiBros show presented by Chit Podcast Network. Now today, we actually had a very, very fun time and very, very lucky to have interviewed and talked to Marko. Actually an actor, on-screen actor, a theatre actor, and as Eldad will tell you, he's also involved in the music scene among many, many other things.
I think the greatest takeaway from there, right, is that the life of an actor in Singapore is not what people make it out to be, especially if you're a theatre actor. It's a lot of hard work. If you don't have passion for it, it's going to be a challenge. Like you hear his stories, right, and wow, like if you don't have his passion or you don't have like the same amount of like enthusiasm about arts and everything, right, it's going to be very hard like to really stay in the industry.
For me, right, it was quite funny because I went to interview preparing the questions and think like, oh, like how can you choose the role? What do you want your role to look like? How much?
It's nothing like that.
Then he's like, no, I got a role I take already. I'm very thankful to have a chance to act. So that's the reality, right? And he also said that, like, for example, it's very difficult for actors to just act full time. Right? Most of them need something else to keep the lights on or to have a stable income, and then you do acting as sort of like maybe you got 2-3 shows per year to sort of like make sure that you are still seen, or you still get the chance to practice your craft.
There's a lot of learning, and which is quite fun because arts is always generally most of the time it's about learning and evolving into something that's different.
Yes. Okay, before we get into our episode, a word from our sponsors. Once again, we would like to thank SG Watch Hub for sponsoring this episode. SG Watch Hub is Singapore's one-stop platform for all things watches. Whether you are buying, selling, or just crazy about timepieces, SG Watch Hub connects you to sellers, retailers, and fellow collectors so you can find that perfect piece for your wrist. They've got you covered with a full range of services from repairs and polishing to strap replacements, protective firms, watch winders, and even authentication to make sure your watch is 100% the real deal.
On top of that, SG Watch Hub offers brand partner promo codes so you can score special discounts on watches from different brands. And speaking of partners, they also work with amazing companies like Nomad Watchworks, a homegrown brand known for their premium straps and accessories. One of their biggest perks is that every leather strap you purchase from Nomad comes with free lifetime cleaning, so your watch doesn't just look stylish, it stays Cat for too. Stay tuned on both the Chit Chatter Podcast and SG Watch Hub Instagram pages because we'll be running a special giveaway sponsored by SG Watch Hub and Nomad Watchworks very soon. Trust us, you don't want to miss it.
So, if you love watches as much as we do, head over to sgwatchhub.sg and join the community. SG Watch Hub, bring the world of watches to your fingertips. And now, back to the episode. Today, we have a very special guest with us who is a versatile stage and screen actor, voiceover artist and musician hailing from Singapore. He is notably recognized for his passionate engagement in the performing art and his dedication to expressing complex character roles. Andrew holds a prominent presence both in theatre and musical productions and is also known for his love of improvisational comedy. He will be performing with Mission Improvables, that's a very cool name, on the 29th of August. So to find out more about his experiences, please join me in welcoming Andrew Marko.
Hello. It's good to see you. Just to get out of the way, right? Me and Andrew know each other for how long has it been, bro?
Oh, I mean, if you're counting like the whole of secondary school, that's like a long time, bro.
Wait, which year did you graduate?
2008.
I mean that you're 1 year, you are 2 years my junior.
Yes. Correct. That's how I remember it.
So you're 2 years my junior. We didn't hang out that often because we were always separate. I think I got to know you more after we both left secondary school.
Yeah, definitely. Like once, I think both of us were in like the music scene, and then we stopgap as well. Basically, half of you all from from Barker, so like.
No, but also it's because both of us are generally like taller, bigger in size, so it's kind of hard to miss each other. So it's kind of
That's true. Everywhere, like in crowded events or something, where it's always like, "Hey, Eldad."
Hey, Andrew, what are you doing here?
Eldad is what I call the beacon in clubs. When there's too many people, right, you get lost, right? Hey, find the guy.
Yeah,
like, the beacon, yeah.
Yeah, but side note, right? You won't catch me in the club because I don't go.
Yeah,
okay.
actually,
Yeah.
same, bro. I'm not a fan of clubs anymore. Like, it's just too much, you know. You get past a certain age, right? Then it's just like, it's too much, bro. Now I'm a pub kind of guy. You know, go to bars, live music. That's chill, right?
Yeah,
That's a
that's
good.
true. Like if you want to go to a bar, right? I think JY, you went to the magic bar the other time, right? There's
The
a magic bar.
magic.
There's a magic bar in Singapore, bro.
Yeah.
So they do like magic.
Yes.
Yes.
They do like magic
Yes.
tricks and then they serve cocktails and stuff.
Gee, okay, sign me up. I love magic, bro.
Yeah,
I love.
Oh,
I think
okay.
it was like we had one of our previous guests that came on, that he was part of
Yeah.
he was part of the show.
Yeah, when I was like younger, right, I was obsessed with card tricks and shit. But I gave up because I realized I'm not that good at it. But after a while, I realized I can't do that. My hands are not big enough. For a lot of these kind of sleight of hand tricks,
Yeah.
right, you need fucking big hands, bro. I swear. Like your
Yeah.
fingers need to be like trees, like twigs, basically. But I got tiny hands, bro. That's why I struggle when I play bass or so, to be honest. Like it's like I can't do much, you know.
Yeah, speaking about magic bar and your interest in magic, when we are doing our research, right, we learned that apart from your performance pursuits, you are actually very fluent in multiple languages and various forms of the arts, like singing, music, dance styles, a
Well,
wide range of
yeah.
accents. Could you maybe share with us like where your very interests come from and how do you think they value add to your role as an actor and as an on-screen actor?
The language part, I mean, so it's not that many languages. I feel it's like it's not, and I wouldn't say like I'm very fluent at them. I'm fluent if I practice, you know what I mean. But I think that's the kind of skill that I have, that I can learn really fast.
Okay. Wow.
And I can sort of get the hang of things very fast. But if I don't practice, if I don't use it, it's gone. I took Hindi as a subject in uni for fun. I just decided to, I don't know why also. And then I was pretty good at it. You know, I went to India for a while and I was like, oh my god, I'm speaking Hindi. Nowadays I'm like, oh, struggle, bro. It's a struggle. I struggle to remember. You know, I haven't used it. You know, I don't speak much. That's kind of where it all came from. I think the interest really started with the accents, right? It's not necessarily the language for me, because it's hard, bro. Languages are freaking hard. I struggle with Chinese, bro. I'm CLB, so you know what I mean.
Wait. Disclaimer. If you're ACS boy, right, and you struggle with Mandarin, it is normal. Okay,
it's very normal, bro.
It is
CLB
normal.
is like
It is normal. I am CLB also, so it is normal.
Yeah, it's very normal, bro. CLB is like every, you know. So yeah, I unless you give me a multiple choice MCQ, like I can't speak Chinese.
I see.
I won't know what to say. Like, you don't give me options, I'm like, I don't know. I don't know how to respond. Honestly, actually, to be completely frank with you, being able to do accents, right, is useless, bro. Useless. Nobody gives a shit. After a while, they're like, oh. Like, yeah, because honestly, like it's really no big deal. Unless you are acting in some kind of show where you have to do an
Okay.
accent, then yeah, okay, it comes in handy. But most of the time, I think a lot of the productions in Singapore, it doesn't. You don't need to do accents to be a good actor. You know what I mean? Like so many good actors don't need accents. They're just all about the craft, and that's a whole nother thing on its own. So honestly, accents like not very useful. So they're useful if I want to like mess around with people. You know, I think that's quite fun. If I'm talking, like if we get to a taxi or what, it's like, hello, I'm going to this place, please. Oh yes, the bar's really crowded tonight. But it's really nice, you know, to be able to talk like this to people and have them really convinced that you are from the UK or from something else. You know, you are a different person. And then like the next second you're just like this, like, uncle, actually, can you just drop me off over here? I was like, thank you. You know, it's fun to be able to do that. And when I was in very young in school, I spoke with a really thick American accent, bro, for no reason. There was no reason. I'm not from America and shit. I just spoke with I watched too much TV and I was just trying to copy everything I heard. So I think that's where it started for me, the mimicry, you know, trying to recreate the things that make me happy. Shit like SpongeBob, you know, I love that so much. It made me do this impression, which was really great. You know, from SpongeBob. And this is one of the first few voices and accents I learned, and I really enjoyed it. It was really fun.
Patrick,
exactly. Yeah, so then the mimicry kind of grew, and I grew a real appreciation for it, and I started to try and mimic not just the voice, but kind of the emotion, the mind, you know, the mental shit. And honestly, that coupled with the fact that I loved magic when I was a kid, like card tricks, right? I loved that I could do something simple and then people would just be like, whoa,
Mind
like
blown.
their minds would be
Yeah.
blown. Yeah, mind blown. And that kind of taught me how to create this illusion, like how to set up a trick essentially with acting and performance, that I can create a character like a magic trick, and I can make you believe for a second in magic. Yeah, I think that's the running thread through my life. I think that's how it started.
Hearing from you is interesting because I would say that accents now, they have more like play in comedy rather than acting, which is
Yeah, 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 yeah.
which is something like, if I'm not mistaken, there are some comedians that actually do a lot of accent work.
Yep.
Yes, yes, yes,
Yeah.
that's true.
Which
Gabriel
makes it very
Iglesias.
funny.
Yeah, yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Like Gabriel
And they
Iglesias,
do it well. If they do it well and they can do different voices well, it's so good.
Gabriel Iglesias, I think like Jay Farrow also does it
Jay
really
Farrow,
well.
yeah, yeah,
Jay
yeah.
Farrow does impersonations like really, really well. Usually when we do interviews, we always start like maybe the origin story of your guest and how you actually became who you are, right? So
Yeah.
maybe what you could share with us is, how did your love for acting actually begin?
It's definitely from the CCAs, because that's where all these things are kind of planted. These seeds are planted.
Yep.
And to be honest, when I was very young, I had massive stage fright, bro. Like I would get nervous because I refused to, when I first joined drama club. I refused to be acting on stage. I was like, no way. Like I was so self-conscious with my size and everything, right? And I've always been morbidly obese. In fact, I think the term in the health booklet, morbidly obese, was created for me, bro. Because only after I was in existence for a while, then I noticed there's a new category, and I'm the only one ticked at morbidly obese. So anyway, I was very self-conscious. Obviously, I refused to. I only did backstage stuff. So I would like do props and kind of all the little magic things that I go on behind backstage. And I was like, that's when my interest was with the magic thing, right? The whole idea that a lot of magic tricks, it's just 90% props, 90% like camera, like angles or something, and then it was this one teacher. Her name was Sheila Gregory. I'll never forget her. She was then the drama teacher at the time, and then she pushed me to do acting on stage because she was also my lit teacher. And during her lit classes, she would ask us to read Animal Farm. I remember the book Animal Farm. And everyone in Sec 2 had to do Animal Farm.
Yep,
So I remember reading
everybody.
Animal Farm. And then every time it came to reading, right, everyone would be like, oh, okay. Then she would tell, like, one by one, pick people out to read certain chapters. And then everyone would be like, and then Snowball went to the farmstead. But then when it came to my turn, I would be like, and Snowball said to all the other animals, 4 legs good, 2 legs bad. And I would start going crazy with all the voices. And then I think everyone in the class was like, what the fuck is wrong with this guy? Yeah? Like, why is this? And everyone was just always giving me that face. And I was always like, well, it's fun for me, I just love to do that. I have the effect on people. That's where I got pushed to doing some stage stuff, and I loved it, bro. I fell in love with it, even though I was so nervous. It was a small, tiny role, but just to walk on stage and be seen by everyone, that was a huge milestone for me as a kid. And then it just grew from there. And then I realized, I'm actually quite comfortable being on stage. And then it just very rapidly, over the years, when I moved on to JC as well, I did theater as a subject, so that kind of cemented my love for this craft. It planted a lot of wonderful seeds that have grown into forests now, I think. And actually, I didn't plan to pursue this for the rest of my life. I think when I went to uni, I didn't want to do theater studies. I actually did like sociology and psych and stuff. I was far away from it. It just so happened to chance upon an audition when I was in uni to do this show called Emperor's New Clothes that Wild Rice was doing. And because I was already friends with Benjamin King, who was in that show at that time, and he was like, oh, hey, Pam's looking for people to audition and try out. Do you want to try it? So I was like, oh, yeah, sure. And they were looking specifically for people who could play an instrument and sing and act all at the same time. So I was like, oh, that sounds pretty freaking crazy. I'll do it. So I auditioned and I got in that show, and that was my first professional show, musical.
Wow.
And I just never looked back from there, man. It's just been like nonstop.
I think it was later down. Then I saw you on some of the theatre posters for a
Yeah,
while, right? But I can't remember which
yeah,
production it was. I remember I saw you on the
yeah.
poster.
It started. I mean, the first poster that I was on, I think, was Falling, the show with Pandemonium that I did about the kid with autism. So that was the
Mm.
first. That was the first time that I saw myself on a theater poster on the streets, and I went like, "Oh my god, what have I
I made
done?"
it. I made
Yeah,
it.
yeah. No, I was terrified, bro. I was so scared, to be honest. I was like, "Wow, this could go really badly." I mean, I'm playing a kid with autism. This could go terribly wrong. You know,
Yeah.
like
Mm.
I could get cancelled so hard. And
Yeah.
this just in 2016 when
Wow.
we first did it. Yeah. So even then I was very very wary and kind of scared of it. But yeah, it's wild, man. It's been a wild journey so far. Very happy for that.
In my experience, being a bigger size guy, right? I think we've
Yeah.
encountered bullying, especially if you're in an all
Oh
boys school, lah.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
I mean, like, I just wanted to ask, right? Have you faced bullying before, and like, how do you actually like cope with that during your time growing up?
Oh, 100%, bro. Like bullying was like part and parcel of all this, you know, like ever since I was in school, bro. I started school already, started getting bullied because I've been big. When I say like I was big when I was young, I remember, okay, yeah, I did put this into perspective, yeah. I remember in primary two, 7 or 8 years old, the PE teacher sat me down and was like, "Hey, look, in all seriousness, you got to do something about it. You're 111 kilograms."
Wow.
And I was like, "Yeah, dude." And I was like 7, and I was like, "Oh yeah, yeah, I guess I got to do something about it." Obviously, I didn't. Um, only further down the road than I
Yeah.
started thinking about fitness and stuff. But no, dude, the bullying was harsh, bro, everywhere. It was like on the school bus, you kena, like in the canteen, you kena. I remember every
Wow.
time I'm eating in the canteen, people would like look at me and be like, "Oh my god, you're still eating," shit like that. So it's harsh, lah, bro. It's a real tough lesson. It's just what it is, I guess. Like kids are kids, and I don't think anyone meant it to be like really malicious. I think it was just kids being kids, but
Yeah.
it did have a really really big impact on how I developed and how my psyche, how my brain developed. And every time that kind of happened, I would go into my own zone, or I would like always have music playing in my head.
Mm.
Whenever I'm in an unpleasant situation, I would just start singing something in my head, or play, or some song would be start playing, and that's how I kind of get out of the bad situation, I guess, as a kid. It carried on all throughout boys' school. I mean, obviously, right, Eldad, if you're in a boys' school, like this shit is everywhere.
Is
So
if you
yeah,
it can get really quite rough, one, like really legit,
yeah,
because it's all of us.
All
It's
boys,
all
huh?
you think of. It's
Yeah.
all boys, right? And all of us are growing up, so we're all like hitting puberty. We're all like getting to the point where
yeah.
it's like there's no control, one.
Yeah.
No filter, no nothing, bro. It's just chaos, bro. It's fun, and I think I realized that as I got older, I realized that okay, these people are laughing at me.
Yeah.
But it doesn't have to be a bad kind of laughter. You know what I mean? It
Yeah.
can be a good thing. I started to think like, hey, okay, maybe if I intentionally do things to make people laugh, like it'll be cool. And I started doing that, and it worked, bro. Like I kind of felt better about myself. I feel like, okay, I feel like I'm fitting in somewhere. And people were also like, okay, yeah. Because before that, bro, I was weird. Okay, in primary school, I was a weird kid, bro. Like honestly, I wouldn't be my friend. Okay, I was weird. I would talk to myself. I would talk to myself in different voices and different accents. Like not talk to people, bro. I was a loner. I had no friends. I just refused to be with anyone. I was just on my own. That's why I could do so much, because it was so strange. I used to tell people that I could do magic and shit, like black magic, bro. Like I used to write spells on pieces of
Wow.
paper and throw at people. I'm not even
Wow.
kidding you. There are like I don't know if anyone remembers in primary school, but I've done that to a few people, bro. Like I'll write some gibberish words or something, like something I found on Harry Potter or some shit. Now I'll draw a weird symbol, right? Now I'll write like 666 or something. Now I'll be like, yeah, I'll throw at people. I'll really strange, bro. I wouldn't be my friend. I kind of turned that around, I guess, and I was using the bullying to, I don't know, train this instinct inside of me, to this performative instinct that started from a very young age. And I think this just kept growing from there. Everything just kind of kept combining.
Is that like basically like an avenue to express some of your experiences, like using arts or expression and everything like
Yeah,
that?
yeah, 100%, bro. I think there was a lot of emotions for sure, right? I mean, dealing with emotions is always different and difficult, and everyone does it differently.
Yeah.
But for me, it was in expressing. It was in just honestly just talking to myself. Sometimes it comes down to that, just talking or singing. Like certain songs are like really sad, right? Sometimes when you're feeling sad, you sing a sad song and you're wondering how sad can you make it sound? How sad can I sound? And then it just that shit, or like how angry can this song sound? You
Yeah,
know, like
yeah.
how many times I've sang Rage Against the Machine, so stuff like that. You know, as a kid.
So Eldad, talk a bit about your, I think, growing up experiences. I would like to move on to like
Yeah.
your transition to become an actual actor lah. So I'd like to ask
Yeah.
you, what were some of your early inspirations that made you decide that, oh, I want to become an actor?
As a kid, I think some of the inspiration was a lot of the movies and TV shows. Like I said, I was a huge TV person, right? Huge movie person. So all these movies and TVs had a huge influence on me, but they never really made me want to become an actor. You know what I mean? It was, I think I grew up with a very practical Singaporean mindset, and it was always instilled in me that like, hey, Andrew, you cannot, I mean, acting is fun, but as a hobby, you know, like you can't do it, you can't make money from it. So all throughout, I think I've always thought of acting as just a fun thing I do on the side. This is a hobby kind of thing. I never really took it seriously. I don't take many things seriously. In fact, most things in my life I don't take seriously. So only as I got older, then I started meeting people, started meeting started meeting musicians actually. I think that was my intro into the whole world. I chanced upon a lot of connections and friends and musicians at that time, in like I would say 2011, 2012, you know, just after school finished and everything into uni. Army time is when I discovered, you know, a lot of the music scene, and that was the intro into it. Then I realized that, hey, actually there are people in Singapore who are doing the arts and are surviving well, and I think maybe I could be one of them. And then I started looking at people like Adrian Pang, who runs Pandemonium with Tracy. And then I thought, hey, that sounds very doable. And I started meeting more and more of them. Like this very early on in my life, I met this guy called Dan Jenkins, who works at SRT. He's a director, actor. He's an amazing, amazing person. And I first met him in 2011. And I thought, oh, hey, this is possible. You know, I could maybe do this for a living, you know, let's see how. But it was still like kind of, I was just neither here nor there until that first show in 2015, until I got my first paycheck for a show. And I was like, oh, okay. I guess okay lah.
Wow. Flex.
Yeah. And I remember, because this was my first paycheck ever, you know what I mean? Like I was still in uni and I had no idea. To me, like, any amount of money is a huge amount of money.
Yeah.
And everything that I was doing before that was all like playing at bars and stuff like that, you know.
Where the money's not good lah.
The money is horrible, bro. It's like $50 for a 45-minute set. I remember that was the rate back then, you know, it was like $50, $60 for a 45-minute set. Seeing that kind of money kind of made me go like, okay, if I do this enough times, and I was like counting, I was like, if I do this enough times, okay, maybe 1 year. And I'm not very good at maths. So I decided, okay lah, that's not bad. I should do it.
I see. So do you have to like convince your parents and your loved ones that you want to do this as a career?
No, actually, I was very, very, very lucky. My parents were super, super understanding and I think it was because they, in fact, they are the ones who kind of pushed me towards it.
Whoa,
that's
nice.
rare.
Yeah, no, I remember in 2015 when they saw the show, and they were like, oh, hey, this guy's getting paid and stuff. So then, and then I think my mom was like, hey, yeah, maybe you should consider, you know, just doing more of this and seeing what happens. And then after that, in 2016, that's when everything just went fast forward. You know, so I got Falling, and then I got a whole bunch of other shows. My whole year was really, really packed, and I was like, oh my god, okay, I guess this is very possible. And then after that, after they came to watch me in Falling, that's when they said, okay, you should do this.
I see. But if your mom is a typical Asian parent, I think she would have said yes if she saw your payslip lah.
Yeah. No, actually, to be completely frank, right? Like the theater pay is not there.
Okay, I understand. Yes. Yeah,
you know what I mean? It's okay. It's all right, but it's not like, ooh, you're not gonna be like rich after doing. Yeah. It's not like we're not doing like double digit.
You're not basically. It's like you're not you're not winning a Tony Award or like
Yes.
a Broadway musical or gonna go to Hollywood, right? And that just
Exactly.
basically just sums it up in that particular context.
Yes, bro. Yes. That's kind of like the thing with this industry lah. Also, I mean, just a quick chime in, like, but that's like on the West End and stuff. If you get a
Yeah.
show, it's probably like 6 months minimum contract
Mm.
or 1 year, 2 years. It's also not gonna make you rich, but it's
Yeah.
gonna keep you stable for a longer period of time than
Yeah.
if you do it here, because the show is here. I like literally just 2-3 months.
Yes. Correct.
And so the whole process, after it's over, then it's like, oh, okay, you got to find another one. You got to
Yeah.
find another one quick, because otherwise you just run out of money,
Yeah,
basically.
because I think just context, right? In comparison to West End, like Broadway, right? Most of the productions in Singapore are predominantly by local companies rather than you were to bring in like maybe Lion King or whichever. Usually, if let's say those are Lion King or Wicked, right? They're brought in by external parties coming into Singapore.
Yeah. They're not done by the locals here.
Correct.
Yeah. And they have a bigger budget, to be honest. MBS is a very beautiful space.
Yeah.
They have a huge budget, and honestly, marketing is really good. I think that's why they managed to pack out all the time.
Singapore, 80% of the theatre companies are sponsored by NAC lah. The rest,
true.
Wild Rice is very lucky that they managed to become independent because they have reached enough donors lah. Yeah.
Yes. They're a great study and how to start and run a company. How to make it. Honestly, if they should write more books.
Even let's say, for example, in arts context or music context, always practice makes perfect, ma. Like you always have to do repetitions, right? So I want to ask, right, like how do you actually hone your acting skills, right, after your initial first production in like the Empress New Clothes, and then subsequently, how do you ensure that you actually improve over time?
Yeah, great question. I think it's not so okay. When it comes to acting, right, there are some people who have a lot of natural skill, but that only gets you honestly like this far.
Yeah.
The rest of it is like you say, homework, repetition, and stuff. And when you are on show itself, you have to put in the work. You have to really rehearse. You have to like go home, and even that's grueling work because you're in rehearsals sometimes from like 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. or like 2 p.m. to 11 p.m. and you have to go back and you have to come back the next day.
Yeah.
Perfect. Having learned everything. You're out of the show, unless you are like really, putting in a lot of effort to go for courses and expand your knowledge and learn new things, then that's also something that people do. I'm very lazy. So I tend to a lot of my practice tends to just be like talking to myself a lot, bro. Like, to be honest, that is it. That's talking in front of a mirror, like practicing different scenes, I guess, or finding out researching on the ins and outs of acting. There's a lot of philosophy behind acting. There's a lot of philosophy. There's a lot of thought and processes. So it's always fun to kind of explore different schools of thought, explore different processes, and see how different actors do it. And then you're like, oh, okay. These days, I think my practice comes a lot from the teaching. Because I also, so as an actor, as a freelance actor in Singapore, you really can't just do one thing. You cannot there is no such person who is just a voiceover actor. No such thing. We all do multiple things. So one of the things that some of us do is teaching. And honestly, teaching is such a great practice because you are literally imparting knowledge, and you have to walk the talk as well. You have to know what you're talking about. You have to practice what you preach. So that's always a really good way to, get the skills sharp, I guess.
Aside from teaching acting classes, right? Like, what are maybe some of the more memorable roles that you've actually done?
My favorite, right, was this charming little show that I did called Peter and the Starcatcher. It was it was a Pandemonium production that we did in 2018. And it was just one of the year-end shows. And I love that so much, bro, because it was a story. It's basically the origin story of Peter Pan. And there are so many things there's so many things in there that I really love. A lot of themes I really love, like the never growing up. You have to believe in yourself. You have to believe in good things. A lot of cool shit, lah. Like they were saying, and I just love to be a part of that production. And there was a whole bunch of like really, really, really talented people coming together. And it was huge cast. And yeah, it was great, man. I had one of the best times on that. In terms of the filming stuff, Honestly, I love it's not like a TV show. It's DBS Sparks. DBS
Yeah.
Sparks, I love it. I love it so much just because I when I'm in it, I feel like I because it's a series show, right? So it runs for a
Yeah.
few seasons. So every time we film it, I feel like I'm in a long-running TV show, and I feel like, oh, this
Oh, that's
is
nice.
fun,
Yeah.
this is cool. And like the director, writer is really great to work with. And he just kind of crafts our characters really well. So my character in DBS Sparks is very similar to my character in real life, in me.
Oh.
So when I study the script, I'm like, oh yeah, easy, lah. I don't have to memorize much. Yeah, it flows really well, lah. So I
Mm.
always love something for that.
So to move on from your actor role, I want to move to this the entertainment or the acting scene in Singapore. Could you
Yeah.
maybe give us a brief intro, like how the scene is like in Singapore? Is it competitive, or how's the entertainment and acting
Yeah,
industry like?
it's super competitive, bro. I think it's worse if you're a female. Because
Oh,
there's
okay.
statistically a lot more females than males,
I
and
see.
so there's a lot more competition for them. So I can't speak on behalf of like the female theater actors, but as a male theater actor, the competition is also pretty high. To be honest, like you need to be able to play all the games
Yeah.
in the theater game. I'm sure it's the same in the music industry, but it's really about the social game, right? It's about
Yeah.
people that you're connected with, and then if you make a good impression, you make
Yeah.
whatever, you do this and that, you play your cards, right? That's how it works. I mean, you have to be a part of it. You have to be a social
Yeah.
game. You have to be for a while, even though I personally hate it because I'm old and cranky now. But when I was younger, when I had the energy, it was like, yeah, okay, sure, you can hang out with people, you have friends. Past 30, it's like, okay, forget it.
Yeah. It's like there are more important things than like networking.
Yeah. So yeah, the networking is really important, and the industry how it works is very short term. A lot of short term
Mm.
projects, a lot of
Mm.
things like you go on, we do a show, for about like I said 2-3 months, and then we move on to the next show. And if you're
Yeah.
lucky, you have a few shows in a year. If not, then you maybe have 1 or 2 good shows in a year.
Mm.
Um,
Mm.
if you are certain actors, you have like 5-6 shows a year. You're
Yeah.
constantly booked. But it really varies. But to be completely fair, I feel like there is a very big ceiling here. You hit a certain ceiling because once you've worked with all the big major companies, there's really nowhere else to go.
Yeah.
Aim for that. A lot of people like their goal is, oh, I want to work with Wild Rice, I want to work with Pandemonium, I want to do, that's like their big dream. And then a lot of
Yeah.
people do it, and then after that they realize, oh, okay, that's it.
That's all.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, yeah, okay, that's
Yeah.
all. So again, like we do again. And of course there are some people who can survive and make a happy living just doing this over and over and over again with the same old companies. I'm one of them. Definitely makes you feel a bit tired after a while, and it kind of makes you feel like, no, I wonder what else is out there. So, and
Mm.
then I've thought many times about, trying out the West End or even Broadway and stuff like that. But honestly, it's just different problems, I
Yeah.
guess, because for
Mm.
them it's definitely more stable,
Yes.
but definitely more hard to get. The competition is even bigger.
Correct.
There's more people who are better than you everywhere, and they are happening all the time. People are coming up all the time, literally. Like schools graduate once a year, and so you're talking, and in every school, I mean, maybe, I don't know, 15 students for me school, which doesn't sound like a lot, but you combine like all the acting schools together,
There's a lot.
there's a lot of
Yeah.
people coming in and trying out and wanting to do all these new things, and then it
Mm.
just gets more and more difficult, I guess. And now
Mm.
it's all different now with social media, with TikTok and Instagram and stuff like that. People are starting to do content creation and stuff, I guess. Yeah, so there are some theater people who are kind of dabbling into that field as well. You need to have like an instinct for it, I guess.
Yeah.
For the
I
social
see.
media stuff.
For young and budding actors, right? What kind of advice will you give them, or what kind of advice will you push them towards so that you think that they can be seen more or booked more for shows?
Honestly, just keep hustling, man. I think audition for as many things as possible. Get your name out there. Go for open mics if you can sing. Go for workshops. Make friends. Know people. Go out for kopi with people. Go for supper. Supper is a very big thing for theater people. All of us,
Yeah.
we have a favorite supper spot. Always be humble and do the work. I think that's very important because even if you are skilled and stuff, it doesn't matter if you don't put in the work. If you're not good with the whatever material you're given, it's useless, basically.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
see. Can you give our listeners a walkthrough of how a theater play is being conceptualized? Because I know that for theater, right, the process
Yeah.
is more fluid. Most directors will
Yes.
sort of involve the actors in the conceptualization process and like make some changes. So
Yeah.
maybe you can give us a bit of insight about that.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, so I think in the theater world, all directors work differently and all writers work differently. Everyone has different processes, but most of the time there is always at least the skeleton of the script, the shape of it. And then from there you do improv work, you improvise different scenes. The director may ask you to do this particular scene, or they'll write something and be like, hey, here's something. This is coming from working with Thomas Lim for National Day Charades
Oh, okay.
last year. And the show was largely just, it was workshopped with us. So that's why we call it the workshopping period. Right? So some companies workshop a lot, some companies don't. So whenever you're in the workshopping process, you have the skeleton, and then they'll write, you improvise scenes, and then you come back the next day and maybe they'll say, okay, maybe you try this, maybe you try that. And honestly, this process is really fun because I remember for National Day Charades, it's all about Singapore, right? So every day there was like a different fun task for us to do, to write a little thing about a childhood memory or something that we love
that's
about
fun.
Singapore. Like, like random things like that, like random facts, random stories. And when you're with the right people, who know how to collaborate, create and collaborate. It was a real magical time. I think they might take everything together and then they'll take some time, mull over it, and write, and then boom, back to you. And then once rehearsal starts, that's when it's just we are doing exactly what the script says every time, like in whatever. Yeah, I mean most of the time. Okay, that's really most of the time. Some companies, some directors allow for you to improvise and stuff, but a lot of them say, okay, look, this is the script, let's stick to it. So yeah, that's usually how it works. But for the people who don't improvise and don't create, we are literally just essentially taking a script that is already known and just doing exactly that, recreating exactly what is on this page. And that's for companies like Pandemonium, known plays already. SRT also does a lot of very known plays. They do Shakespeare, of course. So because generally it tends to be like these shows that sell to the mainstream audience.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like people will always want to watch Romeo and Juliet. They'll be like, oh yeah, Romeo and Juliet. But then you'll be like, let's watch King Lear. And I'm like, who's King? What's King Lear? You know? So a lot of people want familiarity.
Yes. I agree.
But,
This one I agree.
But there are a lot of people who also go for the sort of the newer plays, the unheard of plays, you know, the slightly more explorative theater people. And honestly, I feel like it's the same thing, man. Like watching a new show on Netflix or something is about the same thing as watching a new theater piece, you know. And that's why we rely a lot on word of mouth. I think the part of the process is when we open a show, word of mouth is so important. Like I remember when Waitia's musical came out, Secondary, last year, it sold out. Like after it opened, the opening weekend, it sold out the whole run, like in a day. And it's really word of mouth because people watched it and they were like, "Oh my god, this is great!" You know, even though it's a new piece of work, it's so good. It's comparable to anything that you've seen outside. And bringing it from page to stage, there's a lot of people involved. There's a lot of like props people. There's a lot of stage management that has to happen. Generally, across the board, whether it's improvised or not or scripted, we always have a rehearsal room and it's always demarcated really well. The stage manager will, and this is the pretty cool part because the stage manager, in order for the rehearsals to start, basically, there needs to be a stage plan already, right? There needs to be someone plotting out the stage and everything. And there will always be that. So on the first day of rehearsal, the whole room will just have different
Tapes.
little like tapes here and there saying like 30 40 which is the height of, let's say, a step.
Okay.
Yes, so there's information everywhere and it looks like, okay, you don't really understand it, but the more you rehearse, the more it makes sense, and you're like, okay, there's a door here, you know, like there's a door here, so you know mentally there's a wall, door, window, whatever. And then when you go on stage on the actual tech itself, that's when it comes to life, boy. That's when it's trippy as hell because it's like, oh yeah, okay, that's the door, that's the wall, that's the window. So everything comes together. That's a very magical moment for a lot of actors, I guess, when they first when they first hit the actual stage they're performing on.
In that case, right, when you take on roles, is there any specific thing that you look for, or is like more like the director will commission you that you can take this role?
Yeah, no, bro. Honestly, like the way it works in Singapore, I think most of us just don't really care because we are most of us, to be honest, most of us are super desperate for work. We will say yes to
Okay.
anything, bro. And I
okay.
mean, I can only speak on my behalf, I guess, because I personally say yes to everything.
I
There is
see.
rarely something you tell me, like, even if it's a small kind of B-side show, I'll be like, yeah, sure, okay, whatever, I'll do it. You know, because it's all
Oh.
these little things that stack up, right? So
Yep,
I always
yep.
think, okay, from a Singaporean money kind of perspective, I just say yes to every single show.
So I guess it's not like Matthew McConaughey who can say, I'm not going to do romance for 1 year, right? Or
Yeah, no, bro. Like I wish I had that kind of freedom, bro. Look, there's no such thing here, man. And honestly, with the typecasting and stuff, I realized I forgot to touch on this earlier on, but the typecasting definitely happens. Definitely you want to do more. I love doing comedy, but I also love doing really drama stuff, like really, really dark shit. It's it's two sides of the same coin, lah. You know, if you want to be good at comedy, then you have to be good at drama as well. It's very easy to make someone cry, but it's damn hard to make someone laugh. Anyway, yeah, sorry, I just feel like I forgot to answer that point just now.
Moving to, let's say, you're doing behind the camera work or like in front of the camera work, right? Like, how different is it? Or like maybe you could just describe how is it like for, let's say, a day of filming in front of the camera rather on stage, like what's a normal typical day like?
Generally for filming, there's a lot of waiting around, bro. Honestly, like there's like every time I'm on set, I'm playing Mobile Legends somewhere. You know, it's just you're just waiting. This is waiting. There's a lot of waiting around, and even when when you're in the frame and the camera is ready, there's still a lot of waiting. And it's very different, bro. I don't know which one I prefer because for camera stuff, for film stuff, it's so like touch and go, bro. There's rarely a lot of rehearsals, and you just go straight on usually. But for theater, we rehearse for at least 4 weeks, 4 or 5 weeks sometimes. You just keep going over and over. So every day we're learning the lines, we're learning the characters a lot more. We're getting a lot deeper with the content. But for film, which is a different skill entirely. So you need to be able to, for film, you need to be able to give a lot of depth, pull a lot of shit from nothing. You need to be able to find stuff and make it make sense quick. But for theater, you can take your time. You know, you can in the rehearsal room, you can explore, you can try different things. You can say, okay, maybe if this doesn't work, I'll try something else. That doesn't work, I'll try something else. Yeah, for camera work, you can always take a different take. That's the thing. That's the difference. But when it comes to theater, once we go on stage and we're live, we are live, man. We're like 2 hours, 3 hours on stage.
Yeah.
One take. There's no room for mistakes. You don't fuck it up. You know what I mean? Like you sing everything perfectly. You know, otherwise people will know and people will laugh. So I mean, not laugh, but you know, I mean, it's damn malu if you screw up on stage. But it happens. You know, everyone screwed up on stage. I've screwed up on stage many times. Yeah.
How much of a direction do you have on do you have on the actual character? Because it's like kind of like, it sounds to me like, oh, this is the script. You read and you kind of frame the character based on what you see, but you don't know whether it's actually correct or wrong. Until the director comes up.
Yeah. No, 100%, bro. I think that's why, like, you have. I mean, that really depends on the actor. Like, some actors like to make a lot of strong choices and then like have discussions and with the director and stuff like that. And then there are people like me who just kind of go like, okay, I'm just gonna do this. You like. Okay, you don't like, you tell me, I'll change something else, you know?
Yeah.
So for me, it's because I'm just so used to theater, I guess. And I'm very used to just doing what I'm told. So you tell me to be this way, I'm like, okay, yeah, sure. And most of the time, when you meet the director for the first time before filming and stuff, they will give you a rough idea. Like, you know, you rarely ever go on completely blank. And then you just have to do your homework, study really hard, and make sure you are as accurate to that reference point as possible. And then just hope it's what they like. When you practice for something and then like you try it out, and then the director's like, nah, that's not great. Let's try something else. And that's when you have to be good at pulling shit out of nothing. Again, like I said, right, from on the spot, you have to when you're on camera, whatever the director says, you have to be able to just, okay, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it well, man. Because you don't wanna take forever to do it. You know, everyone's been on sets before where an actor just can't remember their lines or something, and then you have to do like take after take after take, and then you're sitting there for like 15, 16, 17 takes. You're like, oh my god, get it right, and you have to just be the same way. The rapid repetition, I think, is a bit tiring sometimes.
Yeah.
To do the same thing over and over again instantly, that's infinitely more tiring than having to do something in the long run repeatedly, you know.
This might come across as a bit sensitive kind of question, but because I think all three of us here are of a certain size, I think I'm at the right position to ask this.
100%, bro, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so do you think that because of a relative size, you get casted for certain roles, and that because you are set in this typecasted in this certain role, do you find that it's a bit hard to break out of it?
Yeah, bro. I think for like when you first start out, you kind of realize that okay, that this industry is a very shallow industry,
Yep.
super shallow industry, and someone like me, someone like my size, you won't see someone like me as a romantic lead.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like
yeah.
the super freaking handsome kind of shit, you know, that's so that and there are some people who are born this way, you know, and they're very, very lucky. And some of them are very good actors, some of them are not. And to them, really all I have to say is you're very lucky. But when you realize this, actually, it's actually kind of empowering because you realize, okay, now as a fat kid, as a fat guy, I get the comedy roles. You know what I mean? I
Yeah.
get to make people laugh. And to be honest, if you watch like a movie, whether it's good or bad, you always remember the funny guy.
Yeah,
you know what I
that's
mean?
true.
That's true.
You may
That's true.
yeah, right.
Yeah.
You may hate the movie,
true.
it may be shit, but then you'll be like, oh yeah, remember that funny guy? That guy made me laugh. Ha, ha, ha. So that's that's something that's a superpower actually.
Yeah.
And all those good looking people could never be cast as the comedy guy because they're
good-looking.
romantic leads. They're too good looking. Yeah, too bad, bro. Except Channing Tatum. He's the only one who managed to do it successfully. I think
okay.
in 22 Jump Street and any comedy
Yeah.
movie that he plays, he's a fucking funny guy.
Yeah.
So I think he's the only guy who made the successful transition.
Yeah.
You can do Chris Pratt.
Okay.
Oh yeah, I don't know. Yeah, no, Chris Pratt, 100%.
Yes.
Yeah. We're gonna talk about the flip side too. I think Chris Pratt did it good. But you see, Chris Pratt had to lose a shit ton of weight, bro.
That is true.
You know what I
Channing Tatum
mean?
and Channing Tatum was handsome from the beginning.
Yeah, exactly. You know, if Chris Pratt like put on weight and then join Marvels, I'd be like, shit, there's hope, bro.
What is a dream actor or actress or a director that you want to work with?
Oh man, I would love.
can take it as a make
I'm
a
a
wish,
huge
huh?
Tarantino fan.
Mm.
Yeah, all right, Quentin
okay, okay.
Tarantino. If you're ever in town, please
Yeah.
call me. Yeah, Quentin Tarantino. I'm a huge fan of Tarantino films, and I think that's one guy who
He has a very has a very peculiar style to his film and to his. I don't know how to describe.
man.
A movie title movie idea, Singapore Cowboy.
Singapore Cowboy.
Okay, so before we end the interview, I think we can go with a round of quick-fire questions. Okay, so first question, your favorite film?
Oh, shit. Shit. Inglourious Bastards.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Wow, that's
He's
a cult classic.
really a Tarantino guy. He's
Yeah,
really a
Tarantino
Tarantino
fan.
guy.
I'm a
Cult
Tarantino
classic.
guy.
Yes.
Yeah.
Funniest acting experience?
So I was on stage doing this musical called Urine Town, and I was playing a police officer next to Adrian Pang. And we have this one song to sing together, okay? It's called the Cop Song, and we have to sing that song. The thing is, me and Adrian, we're not very good with lyrics. Sometimes we forget stuff, okay? And most of the time, it's okay. Most of the time, there is some sort of hang save, and then like, it's okay. Because when we are on stage singing, it's either him or I that gets it right. And then we'll always watch each other to say what we're gonna say, like because the song has a lot of really kind of crazy lyrics, like Jacob Rosenblum or the Old Man Blue. There's a lot of words in it, right? So most of the time before we start, we will look at each other to see what we're gonna say. And then there was one night where the both of us kind of forgot the lyric, and the both of us there was nothing. And so after a while, so there were two names, okay? So the name was Jacob Rosenblum and Joseph Old Man Strong. These are the two names, two separate verses, okay? But it starts that way. So for some reason, when we looked at each other, and it was supposed to be Jacob Rosenblum, and we went, Jacob Old Man Strong, and we started laughing. We broke from there, and I could not continue. I was just literally on stage going like, and I was like, I tried to sing, but I couldn't sing. I was like, stunned, bro. I couldn't move. I couldn't do anything. I was just, then after that, the both of us just kept laughing.
Did the audience like laugh with you all?
I think both of them were like confused a bit at what was going on, because me and Adrian were just laughing and we just couldn't look at each other in the eye after that, bro. Like we were just like, no.
So since you have asked the funniest, what is the most awkward on-stage experience?
I'm a very sweaty person, generally. I'm a very sweaty actor, okay? And I sweat like hell on stage. And the thing is, microphones and sweat, they're not really good friends. And every time too much sweat goes into a microphone, it fucks up completely. So there have been so many times on stage where I'm acting, and I feel I'm sweating, right? And then I'll be talking like this. And then I will just sound like that. And the whole audience will be like, what is happening? And it's super, and I can't do anything about it. And sometimes I'm singing a song and I just have to be like, oh my God, if I do this, maybe the mic, the sweat will drip out of the mic, but it doesn't ever work.
Oh,
Every single time, bro. Every single time and every time that happens, bro, I feel so bad because those mics are not cheap, bro. They're like thousands of dollars. And at the moment I fuck one up, I'm like, oh God. For some shows, the sound guys were wigged by the wings for me with tissue paper, Then the moment I come out, they would just dab my face and then they would like wipe the sweat. And I'm like, yeah, okay, I deserve this.
Which instrument would you wish that you have mastered?
Saxophone.
Oh,
for sure.
wow.
I started playing it like last year, and I wish I could play it really, really well. Like honestly, some of the jazz people, they're like, I want to be able to do that someday.
Our last quickfire is building the perfect actor. Okay, so the voice of whom?
Ian McKellen. Sir
Wow,
Ian McKellen.
okay.
I like that
charisma.
God, how they done it. Charisma, honestly, not an actor, but Michael Bublé, bro. Michael Bublé.
Okay.
He's fucking charismatic.
Yeah, that is true.
I personally think he's a really good, like, if he was an actor, he'd be a really good actor because he's super charismatic.
Looks.
Hugh Jackman, bro.
Oh, okay. Another theater guy,
for
actually.
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and he can dance, he can sing, and he's freaking Wolverine. So yeah, man.
Acting skills?
Honestly, I would say Brad Pitt, bro. The guy is a great character actor. Yeah, the guy.
That is true.
Yeah, he's played a lot of really, really different things very convincingly. So yeah, he's versatile as hell, man. So yeah, I would say Brad Pitt.
He doesn't get a lot of credit for a lot of things that he does.
Yeah, because
he's very good.
Man.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But he's actually a really good actor, honestly.
He's a really good actor.
Okay, lastly, the knowledge of whom?
A knowledge of Laurence Olivier, who was he's an old theater actor. And the Olivier Award is named after him. But I think that guy is wise as hell. I think he's a really prominent, like nothing I could say right now would justify his presence. Y'all just gotta go check him out. Laurence Olivier.
I think it was really a very, very awesome episode to learn more about your career as an actor and really about your experience in the entertainment industry. But before we go, do you mind letting our audience know where they can find you on social media?
You can find me on social media at Andrew Marko Co. That's Andrew, AndrewMarko, Marko Co. And yeah, check out some of the fun things that I'll be doing. I've got a show that I'll be doing in November. It's a dinner theater show. I'm spending the next few months just focusing on teaching. So that'd be cool. But I'll have random gigs and stuff coming up here and there. So they can look out for that.
Thank you so much for your time. I think it's clear that you have staged quite a career, and I'm sure the curtain is far from closing on what's next. So wishing you all the best in the next stage of your career.
Thank you so much, guys. Thanks for having me, man. It's been real fun.